Hey folks, how you doing? This is Wayne Pierce, Wayne S. Pierce for the American Liberty Radio Network, AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com. How are you? Are you good? Let's adjust some sounds here. Get a little bit better. There we go. Sounds a little bit better, huh? Anyway. It's the 20th of July, 2017. Yeah. I don't know. Now, I'm going to try to take it easy today. Just going to ease into this whole mess that we got going on here. Austria is deploying military if Italy unleashes 200,000 migrants on EU. Trump delivers a warning to Mueller. Yeah. Fake news. CNN's Zaliza debunked by own network after latest Trump whatever debacle. CNN is a piece of crap. I just want to ease into this. And I want to, as soon as my stomach stops rumbling, I want to make sure that people really grasp the situation. I really feel that people do not understand what is going on. Well, I'm pretty sure there's some smart people out there that really can put two and two together and go, yeah, Wayne, you're right. So, thank you. But there are others who just absolutely don't know. Okay? And on top of that, they don't care. They just don't care. I put 2 videos up on American Liberty Radio podcast that should open your damn eyes and help you understand what's going on. Okay? Now, I literally have been through a hell of a lot in my life. But I never thought that what I was learning back when I was in high school about President Carter and all of that and everything after I graduated, I never thought that whatever was happening in the United States of America by our own government was actually happening. It wasn't that I was denying it. It wasn't that I didn't believe it. It was just I'm looking at it going, is this for real? You know, rhetorical question. Is this for real? Is this what is happening? And we have, places like the National Enquirer saying evil Hillary Clinton framed Trump family over Russia. Don Jr. meeting was set up. And this is what National Enquirer is saying. The Daily Mail is reporting what National Enquirer is saying. Allegedly done with the help from the group Fusion GPS. Hillary Clinton and a firm with ties to the Democratic Party set up President Donald Trump and his family in an attempt to destroy the billionaire businessman and politician, according to the National Enquirer. Now, are we to believe the Daily Mail and the National Enquirer? The tabloid magazine, which has made no secret of its pro-Trump agenda, came to this conclusion after they describe as an, quote, exhaustive investigation, unquote, into the matter. These attempts by evil Hillary to bring down her rival included luring Donald Jr. into meeting with shadowy Russian lawyer that everybody knows about. I'll call her Natalie. I can't pronounce her last name. Sorry, Natalia, claims the tabloid. And the firm, in the middle of all of this, is Fusion GPS, according to the tabloid, the same group that allegedly compiled Christopher Steele's scandalous dossier of claims about President Trump that was published in January. It says read more, so I'm going to put that on there. So, my question again, rhetorically, as it is all this real? Are you for real? It's on American Liberty Radio Podcast. American Liberty Radio Podcast on Facebook. And we have lawmakers seek to criminally outlaw support for boycott against Israel. Law would make it a felony for Americans to support international boycott against Israel. That right there, folks, is tyranny at its most revealing. Glenn Greenwald, Ryan Graham over at The Intercept, 20th of July 2017. The criminalization of political speech and activism against Israel has become one of the greatest threats of free speech in the West. In France, activists have been arrested and prosecuted for wearing T-shirts advocating a boycott of Israel. The UK has enacted a series of measures designed to outlaw such activism. In the U.S., governors compete with one another over who can implement the most extreme regulations to bar businesses from participating in any boycotts aimed even at Israeli settlements, which the world regards as illegal. On U.S. campuses, punishment for pro-Palestinian students for expressing criticism of Israel is so commonplace that the Center for Constitutional Rights refers to it as, quote, the Palestine exception, unquote, to free speech. I'm going to put that on American Liberty Radio Podcast. It says read more, so. I woke up today after about 5 hours sleep, and I thought to myself, what am I going to present to you guys? I thought to myself, how am I going to describe in detail how everybody in this country is being systematically skull-plugged into believing the mainstream propaganda media. Well, I think in the last 7 years I've done a pretty damn good job. But I also see a great number of people totally and absolutely denying the fact that this country is in trouble. So as far as I'm concerned, I got a secure job telling you exactly what's going on and who's behind the curtain pushing the buttons and pulling the handles. I literally almost did not do a show today. I almost literally did not do a podcast today. Because the information that I have gotten in the last 24 to 48 hours is so overwhelming. I just sat on the couch this morning before even getting my coffee. And I just thought to myself, what the hell is going on? I mean, I put it on my Facebook page, Wayne S. Pierce on Facebook. And I summed up my feelings at the moment about an hour ago. I come from a generation of All in the Family and MASH, thought-provoking shows that really opened your eyes. This generation has Bruce, Caitlyn Jenner, and social justice warriors who want everything handed to them who are dumber than shit. What the hell happened? And before that, I was looking into some other things as well, and I found something on YouTube that was quite interesting. I have a great passion for history. Not for the bull crap that you got in your governmental indoctrination institutes. I'm talking true, actual, factual history and going deeper than normal. There's a video that I put up on my personal page, Wayne S. Pierce, on Facebook, about the Great Pyramid, and I said, and you got to watch this. And I'll just say this: this validates what was recently reported on about water being around the pyramids and the reason why the Sphinx was buried up to its neck years ago. In my opinion, most science concerning ancient Egypt is inaccurate, and findings are filled with gaping holes historically and scientifically. The video is 2 years old. It's coming up on the 2-year mark of this video, but check it out. I'm not the type of person that would immediately disregard somebody else's opinion. And I would hope that you are the same way about mine. Because basically I look into all of this stuff and I examine what's going on, including John McCain has a brain tumor. I don't wish harm on anyone, but that's the fact. Or the fact that Trump blasts Sessions for unfair Russia recusal, quote, would have picked somebody else, unquote. President Trump lashed out at Attorney General Jeff Sessions in an interview on Wednesday. There's so many different things in the world, so many different things in the United States, that we all have an opinion of it, and 10 people in a room with one subject are going to have 10 different opinions. Because of perspective. Because of perspective and perception and interpretation and your ability to have the knowledge to be able to interpret what you see from your perspective. It's a great deal of stuff, a lot of deep thoughts there, and I apologize for racking your brain this morning, but Antifa organizers and Berkeley schoolteacher arrested. Antifa, that's anti-fascist, organizer and Berkeley school teacher arrested. Yvonne Filarka, facing charges related to rioting and assault. Official InfoWars CNN meme war 20,000 winner. Watch it now. There's InfoWars had a contest for people coming up with a CNN meme with Donald Trump in it. Billions of lives are at stake as China threatens India with war. There are several powerful nations that could spark a global conflagration without America's input. Trump ends CIA programming Trump ends CIA program arming Syrian rebels, that's in quotes. Obama-era program saw U.S. weapons repeatedly reach jihadists. Now, Mark Dice has also had his video criticizing CNN censored. Mark Dice video labeled misleading and removed by Google-owned company. Censorship is alive and well in the United States of America, folks. Censorship, political correctness, protests, it's all alive and well, but it's all done for the wrong reasons. It's all done for the wrong reasons. In the 1960s, late 50s, early 60s, mid 60s, late 60s, early 70s, there were protests against war. There were protests against certain corporations in certain areas and certain ideologies. Now it's just protest going to destroy stuff because People are pissed that they're not getting what they want. They're not getting the handouts that they were promised by the Democratic Party. They're not getting the grants and the loans at a reasonable rate on the Republican side, and their people are rioting and protesting. There's two things I learned from my mother when she was alive, and that was, you can't please everybody, and you're not going to get what you want. Well, the second one I have to disagree with. The first one is absolutely right. If you set your mind to something on the second one, if you set your mind to something and you create something and you make it your own and you have a passion for it, guaranteed you're going to get something. Guaranteed it's going to be what it is that you want it to be. And you have to make those personal promises to you to achieve those guaranteed outcomes. And on the first one, my mother was completely right. You can't please everybody. There is no median, and looking into that, there is no median ground. There's no middle ground to where everybody can agree on anything. And this is where you got the Antifa people, you got the social justice warriors, you got... Here, let me tell you exactly, let me just break it down in the most simplest manner possible for you to understand. There's two factions of people here. There's the ones that work and create and understand that some of that revenue that they get will go to, programs of Social Security and helping people out and all that. They know this, they understand that, and they're doing the best they can to take care of their own families. That's one faction of people. The other faction of people are the ones standing out, metaphorically, analytically, figuratively speaking, standing out in the streets with signs saying, give me what I want now, I don't want to work for it, and you're rich, you're going to, give me what I want. You have those factions of people. Antifa, social justice warriors, all of that. But a small percentage of those people, somewhere in the framework of about 5, maybe 8%, maybe even more, I might be overlooking something. 5 to 8% or more of those people are government funded by organizations who are operated and funded by George Soros or people like him, and are government provocateurs spreading disinformation to achieve a goal. Does that not sound like the long version of terrorism, of domestic terrorism? Because as far as I'm concerned, that is terrorism. Now, we look around and we examine everything that we have and we look at what it is and we say, okay, we can work with this. We, the people who, are relatively highly educated and understand what's going on. We can work with this. We can deal. We can, we don't create problems to get a reaction to cause damage control. No. We don't do that. We take it for what it is. We deal with it on a very intelligent basis, hopefully, and we do what we can. But the other side of the neighborhood can care less. I'll give you a prime example. I grew up in Stockton, California, born and raised in Stockton, California. Anybody know Stockton, California? I know there's a lot of Stocktons all over the United States, but I grew up in Stockton, California. And I remember seeing different neighborhoods being built, different tract homes being built. There was a huge, in the 80s and early 90s, huge move of construction. Okay. Huge number of houses being built in areas that, were just farmland at one point. I remember years ago, I believe it was in the Clinton administration. Tells you how far back that is, about 20 years ago. I remember seeing all this neighborhood being built up and all this, right? And this was back in the, late 80s, early 90s, right? So, somewhere about the mid 90s, I had a friend of mine that lived out in an area north of Stockton. And we drove around there. Homes looked absolutely fantastic. Groomed lawns, and it looked really, really sweet, right? Fortunately, those neighborhoods, as of 2006, when I left California for good, were still pristine, still look nice. But out where I lived, in the southeast of Stockton, almost east, there were new homes being built out in areas of, like 5 or 10 miles away. Brand new homes being built. This is in the 90s. Brand new homes. New home built. Oh, just, all that, right? For about 5 to 7 years, going into like 2002, 2003, these homes were nice. Relatively calm neighborhood. But it was out in an area that was, somewhat on the edge of the sketchy area of Stockton. By the time I left in 2006, that neighborhood looked like crap. That neighborhood looked like crap. It looked really bad. My point is this. Perspective is a key thing. Perception is a key thing. Interpretation is a key thing. Those three right there, those three elements, will help you either push through and get to where you want to be, or will pull you down to where you don't want to be. As I said, I left California for good in 2006. My whole point of that, and relating it to the Antifa people and the social justice warriors and all of this, the neighborhood that looked like crap when I left had people there, and I had inside information on this, had people there on welfare. There were drug dealers out there. The cops were there. There were more cops going out there in the 5 years or so, from 2000 to 2006 when I left. More cops were going out into that neighborhood. And not only that, but the neighborhood looked like crap. But it was built in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. Okay, so you had that time frame, right? But the fact of the matter is by the time I left, it looked like crap. There were drug dealers out there. They were all, so it looked terrible. Perspective, perception, and interpretation is what I'm talking about. I saw it for what it was. I saw it for what it is. And when I left, it was the worst place that you could ever want to live in that area of Stockton. There's other areas you wouldn't want to go to in the middle of the day. Then, a few years after that, like I said, that was built in the late 80s, early 90s. Well, a few years after that, probably around the late 90s, early 2000s, there was another place where tract homes were being built, and that was Weston Ranch in Stockton. Anybody in Stockton know that? I know this show was heard in Stockton, so now look at that neighborhood in the last 20 years. When you get people in a, compact area, you're going to have problems. Stockton has over 300,000 people, or at least last time I checked, it had over 300,000. Okay? So I don't know what it is proper. I don't know. When I lived there, it was, had a population of over 300,000 people. So it's just, my point is with the Antifa people and the social justice warriors and all of that, when you get a bunch of people in a compact area that don't care about their neighborhood or about their city or about anything else other than the rich giving them what they want, that's their mentality. You're rich, you're going to give me what I want. Well, why don't you work for it? Because I don't want to. I want you to give me it. No, that right there is extortion and theft. I'm not giving you anything. If I was a rich person, I'll give you a job. I got a lawn to mow. I got some painting that needs done. I'll pay you for that. No, I don't want that. That's their mentality. And they go into neighborhoods and they work the system to create a lifestyle that in turn becomes cancerous for your neighborhood and tears it down. That's basically what it is. That's basically what it is. I know people are going to get all, pissed off and say, well, no. I'm right. Because all you have to do is go out into your neighborhoods, go out in your sketchy neighborhoods and somewhat, that you think, and just go out there and take a look at them yourself. You got eyes, you can figure it out. As of 2016, Stockton had 315,592 people. Okay? It was named after Robert F. Stockton. Yeah. Who was he? He was a U.S. Navy commander. He was born in 1795 and died in 1866. What does all this have to do with rioting and all of that? Well, when people don't get what they want, they get pissed. When people don't get what they want, what they believe that they deserve, they get pissed. And they're going to take it, no matter what. When I was growing up in Stockton, California, in my high school days, I spent a lot of time on the streets of Stockton. Running around with nefarious characters that looked like you didn't want to, look at them wrong or, they'd put a hole in you. And let me tell you something. It hasn't changed. So I know these people who go into these neighborhoods and create such chaos and such, complete devastation in their neighborhood. I know these people. They're not good people. They may work, they may have some sort of part-time job to carry on with their, as a front to their nefarious activities, but now let me tell you where you can view a whole bunch of people like that. These are the people controlling Washington, D.C. These types of people up, the elites, as we call them, the New World Order designers, the UN commanders, all these people, all these New World Order people, they're the ones running Washington, D.C., and they're the ones trying to destroy everything in the United States of America, in your neighborhood. And they're funding nefarious organizations in your neighborhood, such as the street gangs and the drug cartels and all of that, to do just that. And the Antifa people and the social justice warriors and all that, there's factions of people everywhere creating a catalyst to create the chaos that you see in your city. And you're sitting there wondering who's going to win a baseball game. You're watching your CNN and you're watching your TV and you're doing all that, and what are you getting out of it? When you know for a fact that at night, late at night, on average from anywhere between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m., you got drug dealers out there wrecking your neighborhood. You got graffiti people out there, or people that create graffiti on the walls of places out there in your neighborhood, screwing up your neighborhood. And you're sitting there worried about what team you want to root for this year? Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense to me, because you got the social justice warriors, you got these Antifa people, you got people at Berkeley in California, you got, all these people saying, I want what I want. The government's going to give it to me because I don't want to work for it. And don't give me this crap that, that's not what they say. Go listen to them and put two and two together. You'll figure it out. I'm going to go to break. American Liberty Radio Network. AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com. The reality underneath the honesty. LiveTruthRadio.com. Check out Late Night in the Midlands with your host Michael Vera at LateNightInTheMidlands.com, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Go to LateNightInTheMidlands.com. The world as we know it has been turned upside down. The leaders are faced with possible annihilation from their enemies. The United States is at the brink of a total collapse. This is the reality we live in. What can be done? The truth. The facts. American Liberty Radio Network. AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com. Hey folks, how you doing? Welcome back. See, I don't take that long of a break, do I? I don't know. Some people were saying don't take breaks in podcasts because people want to, I got to get coffee. I got to go. I got to do stuff. You know what I mean? Plus taking a break helps me, helps you. You can, whatever. So there you go, So, yeah. Let me move on. Stop ranting. I may go into overdrive, not sure. InfoWars teaches private security a lesson. Yeah. Did you hear about this one? Here, I'll let you watch it. It's a video. So it's going up on American Liberty Radio podcast. Interesting situation there. So anyway, you've got security, rent-a-cops, telling people not to get away from whatever, and, people want to shut down free speech, period. That's I told you, the people running Washington, D.C. want to shut down free speech. The headlines that I read, and some of those are on American Liberty Radio podcast, also at Infowars.com. Let's go to Breitbart because, that's pretty good too. Trump accuses Comey of attempting to leverage bogus PP dossier. Isn't that interesting? Representative Jordan Throwdown, colleagues must do what we promised and end Obamacare. Clean repeal forces Democrats' hand. Well, yeah, I hope so. We're going to have to force them to do it to work is what we're going to have to do. Exclusive. Journalist who wished for McCain dead doubles down. Really? Yeah. Joe Biden charging hundreds for signed book. Yeah, I hope he loses his ass on that one. No recess until Obamacare gone. That's what Trump said. Well, let's go take a look at that one. President Donald Trump said that the House and Senate Republicans shouldn't leave Washington, D.C. for their August recess until they have passed something on Obamacare. Quote, inaction is not an option, and frankly, I don't think we should leave town unless we have a health insurance plan, unless we can give people great health care, unquote, Trump said after meeting Senate Republicans for lunch at the White House. Trump said that the Republicans could simply repeal Obamacare, but added that the quote-unquote best path forward was to repeal and replace Obamacare. Quote, I think the people of this country need more than a repeal. They need a repeal and a replace, unquote, he said. That's going up on American Liberty Radio podcast. So what's my whole point of what I said previously before the break? My whole point is we have a perspective, but our perception is skewed. And because of that, that's by the mainstream propaganda media. And because of that, our interpretation of what's going on is skewed. Okay? Also, want to read this a little bit, and I'll put this on American Liberty Radio podcast. Very fake news scandal erupts again. CNN's Saliza's latest attack on Trump debunked by his own network. Basically, CNN threw him under the bus. A very fake news scandal engulfing CNN just erupted again on Wednesday afternoon as CNN's Chris Saliza published demonstrably fake news. What's more, Saliza's significant mistake ropes two more CNN anchors, Kate Baldwin and Brooke Baldwin, into the fake news scandal touching nearly every single person at CNN. The fake news from Saliza specifically was meant to rebuke, is that right? President Donald Trump's attack on the fake media after the nothing story about a supposed extra previously unreported quote-unquote meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin at the recent G20 summit in Hamburg, Germany. Many media outlets went haywire on Tuesday when the extra meeting with Putin went public, but the fake news reports were debunked quickly by a White House statement detailing there was nothing extraordinary or wrong whatsoever with what Trump and Putin did during the dinner at the G20. The fake news reports fell apart quickly, as Breitbart News' Christina Wong detailed. So that's going up on the American Liberty Radio podcast. It's interesting to me, and again, this is my own perspective, but it's interesting to me that people would run around and completely, act like the boy who cried wolf when it comes to President Trump and his, discussions with Russia and all that. These are two countries who don't want to kill one another. They don't want to destroy one another. Okay, they're trying to keep, that taken. They're calling China. They're saying, hey, we need to really discuss these things. And we need to look at our enemies and find out what's going on. So that's what they're doing. It's an olive branch, if you will, in some cases. But Russia had nothing to do with the 2016 election of Donald Trump. That's bottom line. So, yeah. Breitbart's Boyle, Breitbart's Boyle, our goal is the quote-unquote elimination of the entire mainstream media. Matthew Boyle, Breitbart News' Washington political editor, gave a speech entitled, quote, Combating Fake News, Replacing Establishment Media, unquote, at the Heritage Foundation in Washington on Wednesday. Quote, the goal eventually is the full destruction and elimination of the entire mainstream media. We envision a day when CNN is no longer in business. We envision a day when the New York Times closes its doors. I think that day is possible, unquote. He said in his speech to the Phyllis Schlafly Collegians Leadership Summit. Boyle elaborated on Breitbart News' record in uncovering falsehoods reported in the mainstream media. Breitbart's fact-checking exposed a false CNN story in June claiming that President Trump's associate Anthony Scaramucci, the founder of Skybridge Capital and now an Export-Import Bank official, was under investigation by Treasury Department and Senate Intelligence Committee for alleged meetings with the Russian banking official. The supposed meetings never happened. The Senate Intelligence Committee was not investigating Scaramucci. Furthermore, the Treasury Department, at the urging of Senator Liz Warren, Democrat of Massachusetts, and other Democrats at the beginning of the administration, had looked into the matter already and determined it to be entirely without merit. So, I'm going to put that on American Liberty Radio podcast. I am going to lay that out there for all of you to see, to make up your own mind. This is from Breitbart.com, if I can speak correctly. Supreme Court, refugee ban can be enforced. That's the Supreme Court. Refugee ban can be enforced. Well, yeah, look at the Immigration and Naturalization Act of 1952. Of course it can be enforced. Period. Do it. Now. Close the damn borders. I'm sick and tired of this. Refugee ban can be enforced. Travel ban should allow grandparents in pending appeal, I should say. Supreme Court gave the Trump administration a partial victory on Wednesday, permitting it to enforce the temporary refugee ban announced in Executive Order 13708. This is by Michael Patrick Leahy at Breitbart. However, now look at this. However, the court denied a request to stay U.S. District Court Judge Derek Watson's order to broaden the definition of, quote, bona fide relationship, unquote, exception to the travel ban to include grandparents and other more distant relatives, pending the outcome of the Department of Justice appeal of that decision to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Quote, the government's motion seeking clarification of order of June 26, 2017 is denied. The Supreme Court order states the district court order modifying the preliminary injunction with respect to refugees covered by formal assurance is stayed pending resolution of the government's appeal to the Court of Appeals of the Ninth Circuit. Justice Thomas, Justice Alito, Justice Gorsuch would have stayed the district court order in its entirety. Okay, that's going up on American Liberty Radio podcast. It's amazing to me. Now here's, again, perspective. Here's this. It's amazing to me that we have laws on the books that state certain things, and we have politicians trying to amend those laws to get their way, away from or not be held accountable for enforcing or not enforcing those laws. It's amazing to me that these amendments, these committees, these people are trying to undermine the very basic law of the United States of America. The very basic law, the rule of law of the United States of America is the Constitution of the United States of America and the Bill of Rights prior to 1871, period. Now, what am I saying? We go back 100 and some odd years? No. We enforce the damn law under the Constitution, not, well, that law doesn't sound good, so we're going to amend it. We're going to change this. We're going to make another opinion over here, and then we'll take that opinion, put it in a committee, shove it into the Senate or the House, and make a law about it, and then make it a law so that that other law is kind of null and void at this point. This is why I don't want to be a politician. It's really confusing. I don't want to be a politician because I'd make everybody else on the Hill work. I would get up in Congress and verbally kick some ass and tell people, you're going to work. That's the way and we don't want, I don't have notes here. I have nothing. And if I did, I'd throw them on the floor and just tell people, you're a bunch of dimwits. You have absolutely no idea what you're doing. You're being funded by people that funded your campaign. What are you doing? Your inaction of certain things is, I don't want to use this word, but I can't think of any other word. The inactions of politicians are deplorable, and the actions against the constitutional rule of law is treasonous. I don't know what else to say. I really don't. Let's get to some news, shall we? Saudi police release miniskirt girl after hours of questioning. Yeah, she was let go. Free. Boom. There you go. Now, let me go here. How Bannon met Breitbart and then destroyed Clinton. That's in a book. Okay. I'm going to put that on American Liberty Radio podcast. That sounds interesting. Hate these little ads that pop up all over the place. Hate them, I hate them, I hate them. I don't have ads on my page. I have graphics. Well, should. If you want to advertise on the network, you can see a graphic on my website for your product or service. So consider advertising on American Liberty Radio Network. AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com. Go to the sponsors page, and all the information is right there. I had to change a few things around because it was kind of weird. I was looking at it going, wait, wow, it's been up there that long. And, so go to AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com, go to the sponsors page, and check out all of that. If you don't want to sponsor, you can become a patron or contribute through PayPal and help keep the network going. So that's cool. So thank you. Appreciate that very much. I just don't get how people cannot see the obvious. What? I just don't get it. GOP and Dems plotting Dream Act for illegal aliens. This is from John Binder, Breitbart.com, 19th of July, 2017, from yesterday. Establishment Republicans and Democrats are teaming up on Capitol Hill to bring back legislation that would give amnesty to hundreds of thousands of young illegal aliens in the United States. Senator Lindsey Graham and Senator Dick Durbin, both Republicans, are working on a replica version of the Obama-era Dream Act, according to McClatchy, which has long been supported by Democrats and Republican establishment. That's going up on American Liberty Radio podcast. Now, when they talk about establishment, they're talking about the people that actually are, their offices and their presence in Washington, D.C. is paid for by the elites, by the people that actually run Washington, D.C. Now, let's go to the Kremlin-backed RT.com. Let's see what's going on over there, shall we? Turkish government not behind publication of U.S. base locations in Syria. That's on the front of RT.com. No, let's see. Now, Max Blumenthal, an op-ed is what they call it at Breitbart. Not Breitbart, RT, excuse me. Op-ed at RT.com. This is from Max Blumenthal, I believe it is. Or it's a op-ed. Today, 20th of July, 2017, Americans have been brainwashed to believe Russia has taken over their country. Max Blumenthal. We're seeing more and more congressional Democrats attempting to push the concept of Russian collusion onto the American electorate. I am just challenging it because it is a dangerous narrative, Max Blumenthal, American author and journalist, told RT. The White House accused the media of Russia fever over reports about a supposed secret meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin during the G20 summit earlier in the month. It has emerged that the leaders did speak for a second time, but only during a joint dinner with other leaders. President Trump dubbed the story fake news in a tweet, saying that the press was aware of the dinner and that all of the G20 leaders were present. Furthermore, Democratic member of the U.S. House of Representatives, Jamie Raskin, was challenged by a journalist, Max Blumenthal, after he claimed that Trump's ex-advisor was a host on this channel. So that's all going up on American Liberty Radio podcast. How many times and how long will it take for people to realize that Russia's not the bad guy in all of this? That Vladimir Putin is not the bad guy in all this? How long will it take? I'm wondering. I'm at the end of my rope sometimes. Because people need to see what's going on. People need to see and understand what is happening to them in their neighborhoods in the United States of America. People have to see this. People have to understand this. And it just makes me want to pull out what hair I got left, because people are ignoring the basic, or I should say they're just ignoring the obvious, and they're not taking into consideration the basic understanding of what is happening, and they're just totally denying it. And I know why. I know exactly why. Because they don't understand it. And they fear what they don't understand. And what do you do when you fear something you don't understand? You try to destroy it, or you ignore it. And that's what's been happening. People are so pissed off at Donald Trump because he's not opening the doors to everything and letting everybody have everything they want. That's one faction in the United States. The other faction is, yes, let's make America great again. Let's have a little more conservativeness in this. Let's, cut this program, repeal this policy, and let's make this thing more, let's make the United States politically more sound and structure it in such a way to where it's going to benefit the people. Problem is, that I see from my perspective is there are people out there that just want to close their doors, turn up the TV, and forget about what's going on outside. Not forget about it, just totally deny it, just totally don't even, deal with it. And that's, to me, I don't know what's scarier. Having people want to destroy this country, which is scarier than hell, or just having people ignore the fact that other people want to destroy this country. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it, folks. It's one of those things where, you sit back, I had to realize many, many years ago, and this is in the Reagan administration, right after I graduated high school, that I had to realize and come to that realization that this whole political system in America is a huge, giant scam. You want to talk about a Ponzi scheme? My God, look at what's going on. Politicians are not voted into office. Their offices are bought for them, and their way to Washington, D.C. is paved with, hundreds of dollars of contributions. Has nothing to do with your votes. Has nothing to do with any of that. Your votes don't count. Because if your vote counted, we wouldn't have an electoral college. Or it's not even a college. It's just a bunch of people in a committee going, yeah, well, okay, we'll put it over there. If we had true Republic of the People, you and I could go and vote our conscience instead of voting for someone that others said is a good person and, deserves merit and all this and the other thing, right? We'd have that direct voting instead of voting in a certain precinct, in many different precincts in a state. To have that go into one pot, in one kitty, into one group of people, and then they decide who gets voted into office. To me, that doesn't make any sense. To me, that's totally wrong. Why? Why shouldn't you or I be able to directly vote for the person we want instead of voting for a delegate who goes into a committee, who goes into another room and says, yeah, okay, a number of people in this precinct, a percentage of these people in this precinct voted for this person. So yes, I put my vote in there as well. Boom, that person's elected. What kind of crap is that? It doesn't work. And because the electoral process has been so corrupt since 1871, it's amazing that we even have a country. If we repealed the Act of 1871, got rid of the judicial system in its current corrupt form, and if we got rid of the electoral system in its current corrupt form, we wouldn't have the problems we have right now. But anyway, I thought about going into overdrive, but guess what? I won't. That's a little tease for tomorrow. You're going to have to listen to the podcast tomorrow. Okay. AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com is the website. AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com is the website. Once you go check it out, AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com. Check it all out. This is American Liberty Radio Network on Spreaker.com, sharing the truth one fact at a time without all the BS.